Well, good afternoon everyone, and I hope you are all well and having a nice weekend. I just want to jump on today to do a little bit of an update regards all of these flights that are being cancelled. I've had a lot of messages, emails. Are there many flights being cancelled to Tenerife, Canary Islands, Gran Canaria, etc. So I'm going to run through all of that now. If you are new to the channel, a big welcome. We do have loads on here in terms of news updates, excursions, all kinds from in particular here in Tenerife, which is where we are now, in Los Cristianos. And if you are returning, a big welcome back. So I'm going to jump right into it and get stuck in with exactly what is going on with all of these cancelled holidays, cancelled flights, and what you can do if it happens to you. So I'm going to jump right into it. Okay, so if you haven't seen already, I'm sure most of you will have on the news, there is a bit of chaos going on in the UK at the moment as regards to flights being cancelled, even people getting on the plane ready to fly on their holidays, and then they come over the tannoy and say that the flight's cancelled, it's off, and then they all get carted off the plane and told to go home. If you are one of those unfortunate people, I do feel very sorry for you. It's very chaotic what is going on. So I've got an article just to read through here in terms of why those flights are being cancelled. A lot of it is down to staff shortages. COVID restrictions were hugely challenging for the travel industry, so a lot of the airports got rid of those staff, the baggage handlers, etc. And now they need them all back. They've gone off and got other jobs, or they've gone back to other countries. Basically, as a whole, there's a lot of staff shortages at those UK airports. Thousands of jobs were also cut from airports and the aviation support activities, which used to employ 66,000 people. In June 2020, for example, Swissport, which employed about 8,500 staff at UK airports, including baggage handlers, security staff, announced that they were cutting more than half of them. The company now only has 2,800 people since January, although 1,200 of them still do not have a full security clearance. So when I flew back a few weeks ago, I did notice that the man checking us onto the plane was also the man doing the baggage and putting that on the plane. He was multitasking a lot, and that's what the likes of Easyjet, Ryanair do use as their handlers. They do use these companies like Swissport to handle all of those things, so that's why it's taken a long time to get the baggage off the plane, get the baggage on the plane. Loads and loads of delays. The company that's getting away with that a little bit more is Jet2, because they do employ their own baggage handlers, their own security staff to get you on and off the plane, so they are getting away with it a little bit more. Other reason is vetting. It takes longer to replace airport staff than other workers because they need security clearance from the Civil Aviation Authority. It's a lot stricter. You can't just go, okay, you've got the job, come on in tomorrow. There's a lot of clearances, a lot of checks to be made because they are dealing with aircraft, all kinds of restrictions going on there. And basically bad planning from the airline companies. They haven't planned far ahead enough. They were happy booking all these flights, taking people's money. They haven't thought about how exactly they're going to get all the staff to operate these flights and these holidays. It's a big shame. A lot of people are losing out completely. How long will it last? Industry leaders warned the disruption to flights in the Easter holidays will continue for some time. The industry now has less than 2 months to prepare for the summer holiday peak season. That will give some time to recruit and train extra staff, but it is not yet clear whether it will be enough. I do still think there's going to be some chaos going on in the summertime. I don't see how they're going to make up that many numbers so quickly. Everyone seems to be looking for staff in every industry. They're going to either have to do some form of incentive or a lot more planning, but I can see some summer disruption coming on the way. And I'm going to run through exactly what you can do if you have had your flight cancelled. This applies to anywhere. It doesn't have to just be a flight to Canary Islands. It can be anywhere. If you've had your flight cancelled, these are a few things that you can do. So what to do if my flight is cancelled? Sometimes it's not clear what to do when a flight is cancelled, and it is difficult to know your rights as a consumer. However, there are a number of regulations that all airlines are obliged to honour. So the CAA have got various different legal legislations that these airlines have to adhere to. With many last-minute cancellations occurring, it's also good to know that compensation may be available if you receive less than 14 days notice of the cancellation. A lot of these are way less than 14 days, people in the airport and then their flight is off. One question is, will I get my money back? Easyjet has announced that consumers will be able to claim for cancelled flights due to IT failures. Only IT failures though, they haven't said general airport disruption. So if it was down to an IT failure, EasyJet say they will give you their money back. Passengers are encouraged to reroute at the earliest opportunity on an alternative carrier, or can claim a full refund. Compensation is usually £220 per person. So there is things that can help you out. There's various websites as well. I'll leave the links to those in the description. Martin Lewis has a good page on it as well. You can read through and you can find out exactly which category yours comes under, and then you can file a free complaint. You can also contact the airline directly. Just don't expect to get the money back anytime soon, because they must be getting thousands of claims and they do take a long time to process. I can't believe we're back at all this stage again of flights being cancelled, but it does feel almost like pre-COVID all over again, getting to this point. Which airlines have cancelled the most flights? Number one on that list is EasyJet. If you're travelling EasyJet, hopefully, fingers crossed for you. Of all the flights that were cancelled from the UK over the past week, 46% were operated by EasyJet. The budget airline cancelled a total of 95 since Friday the 27th of May, of which were due to depart from Gatwick Airport to destinations in Europe, including Italy, Spain and Czech Republic. Now, I did read that list of cancelled flights, and from the list I could see there was no Tenerife or Canary Islands flights that were cancelled there that I could see. Another airline, British Airways, they are also cancelling plenty, 24 flights over the past week. Eastern Airways, Logan Air and also TUI. TUI getting a real bad rap on Facebook at the moment. German travel and tourism company TUI has cancelled 15 flights since Monday, but insisted that most of its flights were operating as planned. So do keep an eye on those if you're travelling with those airlines. As it stands, it doesn't seem to be anything from Ryanair. They seem to just be ploughing on. Now, what I would say is, if you're booked for Tenerife or any of the Canary Islands, overall, from what I could see over the last week or so, we've only had about 4 cancelled flights in total. I've not had anyone cancelling the cars to pick up at the airport. I've not had any of that. So in general, Canary Islands seems to be getting away with it a little bit. I can't see it on many of the lists of cancelled flights. I'm not hearing many people that couldn't make it over because of a cancelled flight. What I'm hearing mostly is they're just facing long delays. People waiting 5-6 hours at Manchester. We were about an hour or so delayed when we came. So delays and cancelled, a little bit different. Expect delays. If you don't, then great. But if you do get a delay, just think it could be worse. You could be on one of these flights where they cancel it and they're dragging people off the plane. There was one TUI flight where they were all dragged off the plane at Manchester. Flight was off, holidays off, and back out the airport you go. Not good at all. Which airports have been most affected? Gatwick Airport is top of that list, followed by Manchester. 35 flights have been cancelled from northern airports this week. London Heathrow, Bristol, Edinburgh and Glasgow, they are the most affected out of all of them. From most of the stories I hear, it's all Gatwick and Manchester. When I landed at Manchester a week or so ago, and also flew from Manchester a week or so ago, I've got to say it was horrendous. When I flew in from Orlando, we landed on time. We waited an hour and 15 minutes just to get off the plane. They couldn't find an air bridge for us. We had to go down the steps on a bus. It was a nightmare. So I think those airports are really struggling staff-wise. Baggage handlers, all of that, all has a massive knock-on effect. So I'm going to give you a few little tips on what you can do to try and avoid some of this madness. It's hard to avoid, but there's a few little tips here in this article that I found. I'll leave in the description that might be able to help some of you. This one says travel light and travel early. Book as early as possible in the morning. Right in the middle of it. That's the Ormuz ferry heading off to La Gomera, I think. So yeah, book as early as possible in the morning. Ideally depart between 6 AM and 8 AM because you will beat many of the queues. So if you are booking flights or looking and ahhing when to fly, go for an earlier flight. You're going to avoid a lot of those big queues, it says here. He also advises to rarely travel light. If you can avoid checking in luggage, that will make a massive difference, save a massive load of time. The queues for the check-in desks are ridiculous. When I flew back, I only had hand luggage, and I've got to say, walking past everyone in the queue to drop their bags off was very pleasurable, being able to avoid that queue. The other big one is make sure you've got insurance. With all the chaos going on, it's more important than ever that people take out travel insurance, just in case anything does go wrong, you are covered. Again, there's various sites you can go on, comparison sites. You can tick all the boxes of age, if you've got health conditions, and it'll bring up the best deal for you. Personally, I normally go with an annual cover, which is just comes out of your bank account, and it covers the whole year, multiple trips, because you never know what you're going to do. But you can get single trip cover as well. The likes of Go Compare website, all of those will help you out. I hope this video has helped. I hope it's reassured a lot of you as well that are traveling over. As I said, I had plenty of messages. At the moment, minimal disruption over here. In terms of flying back to the UK, I've not heard any horror stories. Airlines are recommending you get there an hour or so earlier than you would normally. So a few are saying check in 3 hours before or 2.5 hours. But going back and forth from there, dropping cars off, I've not seen any problems. It seems to be pretty smooth this end. It does all seem to be at the UK end that there is issues. There's been a few delayed flights going from here back to the UK simply because the inbound flight is late. So my advice again would be, before you set off to the airport, if you're going to go with your car, or you're going by taxi in particular, or you're going to get the bus, have a look and see if your flight's delayed. Sometimes I've heard people go on and their flight's delayed by 5 hours and they've just stayed, enjoyed, you know, in Los Cristianos for a bit longer, had a little meal out, rather than sit in the airport for 5 hours. They've just gone to the airport a bit later since the flight was already delayed. If you have got any other tips, do let me know in the comments. I'm sure people will read through. I hope this has helped you. If it did, please do give it a thumbs up. If you are new here, make sure you do subscribe. We do have a little weekly thing going with bits of useful information, news updates, news articles, etc. So do hit that subscribe button. Thank you very much for watching. Have a lovely weekend. If you're on your way over, have a fabulous time. The weather today and yesterday, not the best. Quite overcast, but we are meant to go nice again Sunday, Monday, fingers crossed. But if you're here, have fun, enjoy. It's not mad busy, I'd say. Very, very steady. I wouldn't say it was crazy or anything. Have a great time. Thank you very much, and stride on.